If you need any Xbox or PlayStation codes or any cheap PC games, use the referral link in the description. It will take you over to g2a.com. They already have a discount on most of their goods, and if you use the code CHES at checkout, you can get yourself an extra 3% off as well. Hey guys, how's it going? Ches back again and welcome to episode number 8 of the Chelsea career mode here on FIFA 16. As you can see in the top middle, we've changed it up to world class for today. I've been feeling a little bit more confident with FIFA 16 the past few days, especially after having streamed the Atletico series on world class for the past 3 or 4 days. So decided to step it up to world class in this series, and obviously in the last episode, it may even be the episode before that, of the Wolfsburg career mode series, we stepped up the final game in that series to world class as well, and were able to just about scrape a win against Borussia Mönchengladbach. So I was hoping for a decent result here away from home against Newcastle. Obviously this is the game that was played this weekend just gone, and Chelsea were very, very lucky to come away with a 2-2 draw. But you guys have been calling in the comments section for Falcao to see some more first-team football. So I threw him into the starting lineup for today's game away from home at St James's Park, hoping that he could have the influence that you guys think that he can have. But Newcastle are going to start on the attack. Obviously, on world class this year, it is a lot more difficult. I know there have been a few of you that previously had said that you were getting a bit annoyed with the fact that I was on professional prior to the game's release, and then some of you have been quite open with me on Twitter, etc., about the fact that genuinely you found yourself struggling on world class as well, and you've come around to my particular view on FIFA 16 that it is genuinely harder than other FIFA titles, and there is a steep learning curve. But I think it's a learning curve that we're finding our way up quite nicely now after a couple of weeks worth of game time. You can see me being a lot more patient with my build-up in this episode today, playing the ball about nicely, playing some good possession football. We are going to get a penalty here thanks to the tackle on Cesc Fabregas. However, I don't know whether it's a penalty or not. You guys will have to let me know from the replay what you think of it. Haidara is going to pick up the yellow card, but I'm not sure how much contact there is with Cesc here. Cesc has the shot just here, and I can't see where there's any contact. I just don't see it. I think it's a dive by Cesc. We do get the pen, and Hazard puts it away into the bottom right-hand corner, but I'm not so sure that was a penalty, to be completely honest, but we'll take it. We're 1-0 in front now as we head into the second half. Gaia with a lovely little jink past the defender there to squeeze it down the line then towards Eden Hazard. Obviously, like I say, being very, very patient in the build-up, playing some nice passing football. Brilliant move in the end that leads to this Cesc Fabregas second goal. Cesc been heavily involved in this game, winning the penalty, albeit in controversial circumstances, but a brilliant touch and sweeping finish here. The move was really nice, actually. Ball from Hazard to Matic, across to Falcao, who drills it really nicely into the path of Fabregas, and he had to get that off quickly. The goalkeeper was rushing out too. First touch was brilliant, and then just as he was falling away from the ball, it just squeezes it underneath him into the back of the net to give us a 2-0 lead as we head into the last few moments. Willian gives the ball away here, and Johan Gouffran gets it across to Thauvin into Leandro Castan, of all players, their centre-back, and he scores a worldie. Honestly, that was a truly spectacular finish from the centre-back. I left a couple of replays in. I believe it's Leandro Castan, the Brazilian centre-back that he is at Roma in real life, but there may be another Castan that I've forgotten about, but I don't think so. But he's a centre-back, and the step over and turn his side, look how good that finesse shot is. That's wonderful. He falls over as he's taking it as well, and it flies into the top corner. Take nothing away from that finish, but we do get all 3 points, thankfully, though, to go towards our league title campaign. So that is very pleasing. Our first win on World Class on this series. Of course, we did do pre-season and the Community Shield on World Class. We did win the Community Shield, but it was on penalties. We drew after 90 minutes. So our first genuine out-and-out win in 90 minutes on World Class. Training's going very well as well. Unfortunately, Kwame got like a D and an F or D or an F in that training session. I couldn't quite glimpse at it quick enough. But we come back into the Champions League for the second game. Obviously, we were able to pick up a victory against Sevilla in the first game of the Champions League. Now we're playing against Sporting. Well, I say Sporting Lisbon because that's how the club is referred to in England. But I believe those in Portugal prefer it to be called Sporting Portugal or something similar. They don't necessarily like the Lisbon tag, but they're in Lisbon and it's Sporting Lisbon as far as I'm concerned. So that is what I will be calling them. But as you can see, we're starting a bit of a rotation side. Bertrand Traore in there at right wing with Pedro switched to the left. Pogba in at Cam, Ramirez in at CDM alongside Matic rather than Cesc Fabregas. Smolnikov at right back, Stones in at centre back. So it's not a weak side by any stretch, but it is a bit of a rotation side. That's the strength and depth we have here at Chelsea. It's almost, a handful of players that are rotated, but it's still a very strong side. Strong enough for us to put together another very nice move to give us a 1-0 lead after 18 minutes. Nemanja Matic firing us in front there. Bertrand Traore is on the attack here down the right, gets it to Pedro, across to Matic again, involved, squeezes it to Pogba, and this is going to be another penalty decision that is really controversial. As you see the replay, I don't see the contact again. Pogba takes the first touch, and then the defender just seems to run off with the ball. I don't know whether there's any contact there with Pogba clipping the heels of the defender, but it looks like another dive, to be completely honest. Pogba takes the penalty himself and buries it very, very nicely into the top left-hand corner. That gives us a 2-0 lead, but I don't know whether we deserve the second goal, just as I'm not sure whether we deserved the first goal against Newcastle. Questionable, two perhaps dives there to get us 2 penalties so far in this episode, but you can see again an example of the lovely football that we're playing right now in this particular series. Pedro scoops the ball up over the top to Pogba as well. This time though, take nothing away from Paul Pogba. Brilliant first touch, brilliant finish, and we have ourselves a 3-0 lead in the 40th minute. Unexpected to be this far in front. I wasn't expecting to dominate a game quite like this on World Class just yet, but they came back at me in the second half. Brilliant reaction save from Asmir Begovic, but unfortunately it still drops straight to Brian Ruiz, and he's able to pull them one back just 5 minutes into the second half, and warning signs were starting to ring in my ears, and I was able to starting to see them in my eyes as well, thinking, uh-oh, don't let them have an amazing second half. Like, if I can score 3.5, so can they. Wonderful initial save from Begovic. Just really unlucky that it fell straight back to Brian Ruiz. But Bertrand Traore plays this into Diego Costa here. We're trying to get ourselves a 3-goal advantage back again if we can. Gorgeous cross from Smolnikov. Pogba goes for the extravagant and it doesn't quite come off. Looking for a hat-trick, of course, here, Paul Pogba. Scoring goals a lot quicker for us this year than he has done in previous career modes over the course of the channel. But they're on the attack again in 90th minute now, though. So even if they do score, it won't necessarily cost us the game. But they do actually get it into the back of the net. Tanaka arriving at the back post to squeeze it in to make it 3-2. So the overall scoreline was a lot tighter than it perhaps could have been or perhaps should have been. We do get the 3 points though, so again, at the end of the day, that is the most important thing. Training the same guys again as we did earlier on between games. Hopefully this time get a better result with Kawamia. We get a D this time. An A for Paul Pogba though, which is brilliant. And Ruben Loftus-Cheek is getting very close to getting up another rating to 66. So he's growing quite nicely this year as well. But obviously it's Monday, so we're going to have a squad report in the background. As always with squad reports, if you want to pause the video at any particular point to have a closer look at any player's stats, then feel free to do so. There is some good growth throughout the squad though. Kurt Zuma's now up to 78 rated. Players like Nemanja Matic are starting to grow as well. As you can see, he's up 1 to 85. We're starting to get some good growth from youngsters as well, which is key for this series and for the longevity of our squad as a whole. Obviously, I'm trying not to just go out and buy loads and loads of players. We're trying to make the most of the youth players in this squad, because obviously Chelsea are renowned for, in real life, for buying in youngsters, not really playing them and then letting them go again. But Bertrand Traore's played very well for us so far this year. 4 goals in 8 games for him, and he's growing quite nicely. John Stones is up 1. Paul Pogba is up 1 to 87 as well, proving that he's very much worth the £56 million price tag we paid for him. There is some growth from other players as well, including our scout future star guy, the 16-year-old goalkeeper, up 2 now, and then some of the other youngsters aren't necessarily playing and are out on, and some of them are out on loan, are growing nicely. But Kennedy's up 2 as well, so we're pleased with that growth. Obviously, we're looking at Nathan as well, who's out on loan currently at Vitesse. He's going to be a very important player for us when he comes back next season. Papi Djilaboti hasn't seen as much first-team football as I'm sure he would like to see. Neither has Falcao, but Falcao has grown one. JT, unfortunately, has declined as a footballer so far in this series. But we've got a lot of players out on loan. A lot of players out on loan. Most notably, young players like Thomas Callas and Christian Atsu, and then Kenneth Omaruo as well. He's also growing quite nicely out on loan at centre-back, as you can see here, up 2 ratings as well. So when it comes to next season, we're going to have a lot of players at our disposal, and we are going to effectively have to sell some players on, but I'm not sure how many players I'm actually going to want to bring in, because obviously we're going to have youth prospects coming up from the youth squad as well, and you can train. I figured this out on the Atletico series the other day. I wasn't aware that you could, but any players that are in your your youth squad, you can actually train in the training function as well. So despite the fact they're not actually called up to your first team squad yet, you can actually train them. So that's a brilliant addition to the training feature, a side to it that I wasn't aware existed. So that's fantastic. So we may concentrate on youth in this series and see what we can do. Obviously, when we start the Road to Glory series after the Wolfsburg series, then we'll do the same and heavily concentrate on youth. But as you can see, Chelsea 5th in the table right now with a game in hand on Leicester above us and on Manchester City at the top of the table. But for now, that's going to bring this video to a close. You can see the links on screen, and those links are in the description to my social media. Obviously, feel free to check the channel page for anything you may have missed over the past few days. Drop this video a like if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you next time.